So, welcome back to part 2 of my Aoocci C6 Pro review. So, as you can see, the unit is now fitted to Norman, my Himalayan. And I'm glad to report that in my case, I can power the unit via the dual USB port, which is an aftermarket one, because the Himalayan didn't come with a USB port. So, I can plug the unit into this, and the power supply is stable enough that it will run fine. And this also has the advantage, this USB port actually has its own switch, so I can actually switch the unit on and off by switching the USB port on and off. So it's like having a physical switch. So this has worked out really well. Now obviously Aoocci can't vouch for every USB port on every motorcycle, so you'll just have to try it. If you have a USB port on your bike, hopefully the unit will run with the supplied lead in that USB port. But if not, Aoocci do supply their own power supply, which you then have to wire into the battery and the ignition circuit. So you've still got that option even if you have a problem with your USB port. Now the installation itself was really easy. Obviously, because I wanted to test whether I would need to wire in the power supply to the battery or whether I could run the unit off my USB port, the initial installation was just a temporary one. So I actually ran the wires along the side of the bike and just stuck them down with some tape. And the front and rear cameras I just stuck down with some tape initially. So I had the wires running along the outside of the bike just to do a brief test ride and ensure that the USB power was working well with this unit. And as soon as it was, I came home and then I mounted it properly. But that initial installation probably took about 15 minutes, just putting this on the handlebars, the remote on the handlebars, sticking the cameras down, just sticking the wires somewhere. So the installation initially, very quick, very easy, particularly if you can plug it in to your USB port and you don't need to mess about connecting a wire to the battery. So having said that the initial installation was about 15 minutes, when I got back and decided that everything could stay as it was, I just needed to route the wires. That took a bit longer, obviously. First of all, the rear camera wire has to run under the tank, under the seat, and then I've mounted it just below the rear light there. And the permanent mounting is by means of a sticky pad. I might just put some strong tape on that base just in case the sticky pad ever loses its stick, to stop the camera flapping about on its cable until I can get it sorted. But the sticky pad's holding well. Just clean both surfaces with some alcohol and that should be fine. And it's the same at the front end. Here we have it stuck down to the front mudguard under the headlight. Now my biggest reservation about agreeing to take this unit, to demonstrate this unit, was fitting it, knowing that it was going to have a mess of wires that you would need to put somewhere. So, you know, because I like a clean look on the bike, I knew that this was going to involve a lot of wire, and it does. So having said that the initial installation was about 15 minutes, when I came to install it permanently, I probably spent the best part of 4 hours trying to decide what to do with all of these wires. So I'll show you that now. So yeah, you do have a lot of wires here. You have 4 wires. Some of the wires are quite long for my installation, so you have a lot of spare wire to kind of hide away. And I also wanted to wire it such that I could access all 4 connectors should I ever need to remove something. So yeah, it took me a while to get it mounted tidily, and of course you have to make sure that when you go lock to lock, none of the wires can catch on anything or bind anywhere. So yeah, that took a lot of work to get that tidied up, but I guess that's inevitable. Wire is wire, and if it's quite long, you're going to have to hide it somewhere. But on the Himalayan, I've just shoved it down the middle here so it can't get caught, and that should be fine. So as well as the 2 cameras and the screen, we did receive the remote control as part of the package, And although I initially said I wouldn't fit it, I did end up fitting it because it is quite useful, particularly for me, because most of the gloves that I have don't work with touch screens. So this does give me access to a couple of basic functions which I can operate using my gloves. So yeah, we did fit the remote control. I'll demonstrate that when we're out on the road in a little bit. So as well as the remote control, the unit itself, the front and rear cameras, we also got the tyre pressure sensors. So that's these boys. So there's a little battery in there. So at some point that might need replacing when you're no longer getting a signal. You might have to replace the batteries in here, but that's easily done. So there's a little battery in there, and it's just basically a dust cup, and it's just sending a signal with the pressure to the unit. So we have one on the front and we have one on the rear. While I've been demonstrating the unit, Ruby's been having a great time rolling in all the dirt and the grass, and you're in a right state, but you don't care. Right, so here we are out on the road. Now I'll show you the unit in action, and we'll start at the beginning. Currently it's switched off because my USB port is switched off, but now I'm going to switch it on and it should power up. There you go. They very kindly put my channel logo on the splash screen. So you start off in the unit's own home screen, so like the Android tablet, and then it takes a while for your phone to realise that it's connected to a CarPlay device. Right, so yes, now it's eventually found CarPlay. It's a little bit tricky sometimes. Sometimes I get a message come up and I have to hit the CarPlay icon. Doesn't always seem to connect straight away. Although it did initially, that's new, it started to play up. It might just be my phone. Anyway, so yeah, because I've got this mounted to the bars, that enabled me to remove my quad lock, because there's no point having my phone on the bars as well. So that quad lock has now been repurposed. That's the quad lock that I fitted that to Attila, the gorilla. So that saved me buying another quad lock, so that was handy. So yeah, you may ask the question, yeah, so how do you get on for powering your phone if you no longer have it connected to USB? Well, fortunately, on Norman, I always have this tail pack, so I just have my phone in here on a USB power bank, and that'll keep that phone going for days, no problem at all. So I don't have to worry about charging my phone on the bike. I mean, if you had to, you probably could still find a space for a quad lock and have your phone in the other USB port if you happen to have two. But I don't think it's necessary. I've got enough clutter on here. Oh, I did mention I might try and use my own ball mount. This is a lot smaller. The one that's on here for the GoPro is a lot smaller than the one you need for the unit. So I couldn't use that. Had to use the one that they supplied. But that's all fine. So right, here we are then, out on the road. We've come into the CarPlay screen. Now I'll probably demo most of this stationary, just for the simple fact that you can probably see it a bit better. So this is the CarPlay screen. To get back to the tablet, you go to home. Here you have your time. You have your tyre pressures. You also have your tyre temperatures. 16 on the front, 17 at the rear. Pressures 29 psi at the front, 36 at the rear. If you go to the camera, this is the rear facing camera. You also have a speed indicator here as a GPS speed indicator. Your recorded footage. Now you always get two files, and you can, in the settings, you can say how long each file is. I said it's 5 minutes, so I'd get a 5-minute file from the front camera, which is the _F, and I get a 5-minute file for the same time period, _R, that would be the rear camera. So if I ever needed the files because there'd been an accident or I wanted to show something to somebody, you can download these files with an app. You just need to activate Wi-Fi on the unit, connect to the unit's Wi-Fi with your phone, start the app, and then you can access the files, and you can download the files from here into your phone's gallery, and obviously from there you can show them to people or put them on a computer or do whatever you need to do. So this is where everything that gets recorded lands, and it just records continuously and it will overwrite itself. And yeah, basically you don't have to worry about it, it's just recording the whole time. If we go back to the home screen, you can see it's recording directly up the top there. So this is the tablet home screen. Here you can adjust things like the brightness, the volume. You've got Bluetooth settings and you've got general settings. You've got various things. We won't go into all of those. The only one that you might want to fiddle with is the tyre pressure. Here you can change the units. You can change the alarm for low pressure warning for the front and the rear, and a high pressure warning for the front and the rear. Here you select the units, bar or PSI, temperature unit centigrade or Fahrenheit, tyre warning on or off, and that's it. And here again you have an overview, temperature and pressure, front and rear. Yeah, that's pretty much the only setting I mess about with. You can also have your GPS information. This might be useful if you've broken down somewhere. You can give someone your coordinates, I guess. Well, that's about it. I didn't really have to mess with the settings. You can change the brightness. It's currently at 100%, I believe. You can change the volume. It's also at 100%. And it's just tells you whether you're connected via Bluetooth. So that's it really. So you have your camera view, your gallery of recorded files, display date and time, display tyre pressure and temperature, and then under interconnect that switches back to the CarPlay screen where you'd have all of your CarPlay stuff. So all of your CarPlay compatible apps, or Android Auto if you're on Android, they would appear here and you can do stuff with them. Obviously the most useful ones would probably be music, phone and maps. Right, so for instance we can go into maps. Here you have a nice big screen if we want to go for gas stations. So that's a much nicer screen, I think you'll agree, for navigation than just looking on your phone. And then of course here we can have our music, and here we can make our calls, or here back to the app screen of CarPlay. So that's all very straightforward. So there you go, that's all of the functionality. I'll see if I can record it on road for you. And yeah, the camera footage, so it's a 1080p front and rear camera. The image quality is not good enough that you could just take it and vlog with it. That's not really what it's designed for anyway, because it's designed to make lots of short files as a dash cam would. So I don't think that's a big downside, but the quality would be good enough that you could see, probably read the car number plates of whatever car did something to you. So that would really be its main purpose, and for that the quality's fine. I'll try and put some up in the video, some of the recordings from this ride, so you can see what the quality is like. So we'll just go for a little ride and have a little play with it. So to kick off, we can go into the map view, connect to CarPlay, go into maps. So we've got a map, there we go. And I'm not going to go the way they're telling me, because that's not where I want to go. That's good, let's change the route. So I hope you can see that. It's hard to tell what I'm filming, but I hope you can see that. It's a very clear display. Obviously it's not a sunny day today, but even on a sunny day it's been legible, no problem. So it's a good screen. It's very responsive, even with the protective film on it, which might be making it slightly less responsive, but it works supremely well. So if I wanted to go to the rear camera view, I just hit the middle button on my remote, and there you go, you now have the rear camera. So I've now got a cinematic panoramic rear view camera, which is kind of cool. And of course I've also got a GPS speed measurement, although I haven't really been able to ascertain so far how accurate that is, but it's nice to have it there. So I don't know if I want to go back to the CarPlay screen. I'll just hit the middle button again and go back into the maps on CarPlay. Now I would always recommend you stop before you operate anything, because it can get a little bit distracting, but I'm on a very quiet little track here where hopefully there's nobody about, and for the purposes of demonstration I'm operating it on the go. So I have had my mum call me so that I could test receiving calls, obviously with my intercom connected to my phone wirelessly, which it currently isn't. When you get a phone call, it's just like on your iPhone or your Android phone. The green and red buttons flash up on the screen, whatever you're in, they'll just flash up, and then you hit the green button to take the call or the red button to not take the call. So it's a very easy way of handling calls if you've got it connected to your Bluetooth headset. That's a really nice function, because I do sometimes get calls when I'm out and about, and normally I just ignore them because I can't figure out how to get my intercom to answer the call. I don't know which buttons I'm supposed to be pressing, so I don't usually answer. But with this I can actually answer the call and say I'm out on the bike, I'll get back to you later. So yeah, that's handy. So we're here in the camera view. If we want to go back to the CarPlay screen, we just hit the middle button again, and then if we want to check out our music, we can go into our music, and we can use the top button to start and stop the playback. Started it, stopped it. Yeah, so that's it basically. If you're familiar with CarPlay and Android Auto, once you get to this screen you'll be fine. And the only thing to be aware of is if you want to get out of this screen back to the unit itself, just press the home button, and as we're in the camera view we're going to have to press the home button again, and there we go, we're back to the tablet screen. But yeah, I really do enjoy having a large map if I'm navigating. That looks really good. And obviously you'll be getting instructions through your headset. It's spot on. So right, I'm going to pull over and give you my thoughts on the unit and tell you a little bit more about it, and how you can get hold of one for yourself. Right, so we'll just switch off, and I'll switch the unit off using the button on my USB port. There we go. So, what do I think about the Aoocci C6 Pro CarPlay Android Auto dual dash cam unit? Well, I have to say everything about it is top notch. That begins with the packaging, which was very premium, but more importantly with the packing of the components, because they've bagged the parts for each separate component individually. I didn't actually need the instructions to figure out what to do. So you'd have a bag with the bits for attaching the remote control, you'd have another bag with the bits for attaching the unit to your bike, you'd have another bag with the mounting stuff for the two cameras. So just the fact that they take care, they package it in individual bags, so you can very easily work out what you need to do. Basically, I just took each bag one at a time, emptied it onto my desk, figured out, oh yeah, I see what you're supposed to do. Did that, knew what I was doing, and I had the unit up and running in about 15 minutes. Yeah, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, routing the wires properly and getting a tidy installation, you can spend many hours doing that, as I did. So installation easy. The quality of everything really impressed me. All of the parts that I fitted seem to be of decent quality. Currently, as it is, new and working and fitted, I think it's fantastic. I love it. I think it's worth every penny. They've been a great company to deal with. I've had a contact there from the start. Whenever I've had a question, I've had it. I added them to WhatsApp, and whenever I had a question, they responded immediately. They seem to be a really good company to deal with. They're really interested in my feedback because they want to improve the product, and they have improved the product with various iterations based on previous reviews that they've received. So I will be giving them my feedback. I can definitely recommend it. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it if I didn't think it was any good. It is good, and it's so good. I mean, obviously I got this one for free, but it is so good that I would actually buy two more, one for the Gorilla, one for the Meteor, because I think this is just nice functionality to have. The only reason I'm not going to do that is purely because of the aesthetics. I don't think this screen would look good on the Meteor or on the Gorilla, but I'm sure that when I ride those bikes I will miss this. I will miss the functionality that this brings. So it's a really good thing. Obviously on an ADV style bike like this, it looks much more at home. But if you do need some kind of CarPlay device or some kind of bigger screen or even just dash cams, you can't go wrong for the price. I think this is a really high quality, well made unit, and yeah, of course you can fit it to any bike. That's totally up to you, but for me personally, I'm trying to take care of the aesthetics of the two other bikes, so I don't really want to hang a honking great big screen on the handlebars. But yeah, it'll fit any bike obviously, and it's great value for money. So if you're interested in getting a Aoocci C6 Pro for yourself, you can get a 22% discount by using my discount code ECORIDES, which I should be putting in the video description as well. I'll also flash up on the screen the exact prices as of now, because I'm not 100% sure what the price would be with the discount applied. Don't worry about delivery and customs. In my case, this test unit was delivered to me within a week, and with no customs nonsense, it was delivered to my door. So I think you'll be on the safe side if you order it. So the link to the product, and I think it already has a discount code provided because it's an affiliate link, is in the video description. And apparently if you do buy the unit using my discount code, I will earn a commission of some sort. I'm not sure quite how that works, so if you're thinking of buying one and you'd like to contribute something to the channel, that would be a nice easy way to do it. So yeah, I'm very impressed with it. Obviously at the moment we don't know what the longevity is going to be like, but as it arrives new and working, it's fantastic. I'm really chuffed that I can run it off USB, so I didn't have to cut any wires and start wiring it into the ignition circuit. So I'm really chuffed with it, and it's going to stay on the bike now until something breaks. And when something does break, if something does break, I should report it back to Aoocci so that they know, so that that's something they can work to improve on in the future, and I'm sure they will do that. Everything they've told me so far sounds like that's exactly what they're waiting for, something to fail or something to be an annoyance, and then they can go about improving it for the next iteration of the product. Obviously this unit's going to get a bit more of a beating than some, because Norman is mainly on rough trails, so we'll see how it stands up to all of that vibration shaking about. But just stay subscribed to the channel. You know, it's going to stay on the bike for as long as it's working, so you'll find out how it's holding up. But I'm confident, looking at the quality of all the components, I think it'll last well, and for the sort of money that you're paying, it's not the end of the world if something should happen to it. Apropos something happening to it, I did ask, would it be possible to get spare parts for this if, for instance, you were washing the bike and you managed to soak one of the cameras and it stopped working? All you would need to get back up and running again would be that one camera, and it would be a nuisance if you had to buy the whole package and only take out the one camera and have the rest sort of lying around. Apparently they said yes, they will supply individual parts. If you have an individual part that you've somehow damaged or has stopped working, you would have the option, if you contact them via their website, they would try and help you out with appropriate individual parts, which I think is another really good thing, because, you know, we don't like throwing stuff away that still can be salvaged, so that's an excellent thing as well. So overall, I'm loving it. I think it's fantastic. I would buy one for the other bikes if it wasn't for the aesthetic issues that I have with those bikes. I am going to miss this functionality on those bikes, I know that, because I just think it's brilliant to have it. It makes it so easy. If I do get a call, I can answer it and tell people that I'll get back to them because I'm out riding. Yeah, occasionally I do use it for playing music, and obviously if I ever have to navigate, I've got a nice big map. So it's a great thing. I'm so impressed with it. At the moment, I don't have any feedback for Aoocci. I'm quite happy with it the way it is at the moment. I can't think of anything that needs improving. So, yeah, great thing. So anyway, that was just 2 videos for you this week because I wanted to get the review done of this. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed those videos. We'll be back to normal programming next week. I don't have anything to promote next week. So, yeah, we'll be back to normal programming next week. And, yeah, we'll see you there. I'm off home now to get Ruby a sausage and ask her about her opinion on the Aoocci C6 Pro CarPlay Android Auto dashcam unit thingy. Oh, tyre pressure monitoring. Don't forget that. Tyre pressure monitoring. It does that as well, which could be handy on the trails. If I get a slow puncture, I shall hopefully realise in sufficient time that it's happening. So that might be useful off the road as well. Okay, hope you enjoyed these 2 videos. See you soon. Bye-bye. So, Ruby, what do you think of Daddy's new Aoocci C6 Pro CarPlay Android Auto dashcam thingy? Oh, I'd rather have a sausage dispenser. Well, I can have a word with Aoocci and see if they'll send us a sausage dispenser. Oh, good idea. Anyway, you did such a good job of looking after the house for Daddy while Daddy was out testing the device. It's time for sausages. Gonna be windy sausages. These sausages come from Scott, Wolfie and Lucky, your Pasadena pals. Yes, they're in Pasadena, aren't they? Thank you, Scott, Wolfie and Lucky. Oh, yes. Thanks, Scott, Wolfie, Lucky. Nice sausage. Hey, Aoocci, get that sausage dispenser over here. Sharpish. Nice one.